been a really long time, but here I am with episode 18. For those of you who are new, my name is Caroline. You can find me on Ravelry as Woolbox, on Instagram as wool_box, and you can find my hand-dyed yarns on Etsy, which is zazuyarns.etsy.com. So, where have I been? What have I been doing? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's almost Christmas now, and I haven't been podcasting in quite a while, at least over a month, I guess. We have been very busy because, we bought a new house. We will be getting the key January 5th, and we will actually have to move by the end of January. And since we have a lot of work to do on the house, we have been pretty busy with that. And next to that, obviously, work, for some reason, is always way busier in those last months before Christmas than it is in summer when, I don't know, when it's good to have a little work. I don't know. So, I've been pretty busy. And then, obviously, this podcast is not called a really big surprise if I did not have a surprise. And I just can't wait to tell you guys, because there's another reason why I haven't been podcasting, and that reason is actually the biggest reason I haven't been podcasting, because it has been wearing me out. So the reason is, drum roll, I'm pregnant. So this is a baby. I don't know if you guys can see that. You probably can. It has 2 hands. Luckily, 2 feet. This is the head, and this is the body. Oh, and there are legs as well, but they are kind of somewhere back. I don't know exactly how that works. But surprise! Well, this was a surprise to us too, because, well, we didn't expect things to go as fast as they did. So it was just one shot, and it was a bingo. So I think I don't know. Steve was kind of, when we found out, he was kind of turning red, sweaty. I think the usual stuff for guys when they know, oh my god, I'm gonna be a father. And I was actually oh my god-ing the entire time. So, and I think that lasted for about a few weeks before it kind of sank in. Right now I'm a little over 13 weeks, and I'm due June 28, I guess. It's somewhere here. I'm constantly forgetting everything, you guys. This is something I should know, and I always know this by heart, but I'm doubting if it's 26 or 28, but I think it's 28. So, June 28, and I have just been so tired. I have a new hobby, sleeping. So I actually haven't been knitting at all for weeks, because I don't know. I'd get home from work and just the only thing I wanted to go to was my bed. Same in the weekends. Actually, when I got up in the weekends, we would get up about 8 a.m. or something like that. Have breakfast, the two of us, do some laundry, whatever, and then it would be 11:30, and I would go back to bed already, because I don't know. This is some kind of fatigue you don't get rid of. It's not like having an after dinner dip and just drink a cup of coffee and then you'll just have to wait for 30 minutes and it'll be fine. No, it's I don't know, it hangs on to you and it does not let you go until you sleep. So That's what's been going on. What else has been going on? My body is changing, obviously, but this is the first time for me, so I was not expecting to get these big, these guys to get so big. Because normally they're cute size. And within 8 weeks it was, they were already, I was getting in the shower, in the bathroom, and we have a mirror there. You're just taking your clothes off and getting ready to get in the shower, and then all of a sudden, what is that? What's going on in that mirror? Things like that. And it'll probably not be the first or the last time that'll happen. Well, it was the first time, but it won't be the last time, I guess, because everything is, as I said, I'm only a little over 13 weeks now, so I just had 1/3 of the pregnancy, so I'm really curious and a little anxious on what's to come. So if I know there are a lot of women or mothers looking watching this. Wow, my words, great. So if you have tips for me, or you just know something's gonna come up later on and it scared you and you're like, let's prepare her before she goes nuts, do so. Please send me a message on Ravelry or in this episode's thread, whatever, below the video. And I'm sorry to all the guys. If there is a guy watching this, or maybe multiple guys, I don't know, I'm sorry. Can't help it. It's the way it is. So, but I have started knitting again. I think this last week or so, or maybe 1.5 weeks, something like that. So I obviously want to show you those projects, so I'm going to show you what I am working on. And then I have a little bit of news about the knit along, because I said there was going to be a knit along for my first pattern, the Tulip Fields shawl. But I got a lot of messages from you saying that you had a lot of Christmas knitting to do. So I am going to postpone the end date, to at least March 1st. So please join in and take your time, or join after the holidays. That's fine as well. You will have enough time. And then the end date will be March 1st. So do so. You can find the pattern when you go to my Ravelry page and click on my patterns, or just go to patterns in Ravelry and type in Tulip Fields shawl. Then you'll find it as well. Then I have a little bit of stash enhancement to show you. Obviously bought years ago, you know that. And I have a really small shop update part, and that's it actually. So I'm going to keep this as short as possible, because also I have some Christmas knitting to do still, and since it's almost Christmas, I have to be a little bit fast. So let's start with the whips, shall we? So the first one, I'm just going to grab what's closest to me, is a shawl by Stephen West, and it is called the Glacier Sweep. I don't know how to pronounce this in, I would say glacier, but that's more French. So this is a shawl, this is what it's called, and you might be able to see it better like this. And he has a version in sock weight and a version in Aran weight, and I'm making the Aran weight version, although they're both the same. It's the same steps until the very last end, so it doesn't matter what you use. This is what I have so far. It's a rusty brown color, I would say. Obviously the color is again different on the screen than it is in real life. It's a pretty warm brown. If I hold it up close, you see what happens, right? Right now it's warmer, and then when I hold it up close, it's going to a very pale brown, and I don't know why that is, but that's just the way it is. And I might sing the song, but I'm not going to. So this is what it looks like. It has garter stitch and you have to be kidding me. I forget words. Did I say that already? I don't know if I said that. Normally I'm really good at languages. I forget almost every word there is. Not only in English, also in Dutch. So people are thinking I'm not that smart or whatever, but I'm talking like a 5-year-old. So this is called stockinette, right? Yes, I think it is. Hooray! So those two stitches are used, and then you do some kind of, without giving the pattern away, you do some kind of short row shaping, which is really easy. You don't have to do wraps and turns or things like that. Obviously you do have to turn, otherwise you know what I mean. So this is what I have so far. So I kind of have to do a lot still, but I just thought I wanted a really nice and warm shawl, a big one, to use in winter time, because I'm cold really fast, and we are going to Switzerland for winter sports. Obviously I won't be skiing, which is a bummer, but on the other hand I will have a lot of free time. So I will be hiking and just eating lots of food on the terrace, because I will be a cow really soon either way, so I might as well just enjoy it, right? Well, I'm eating healthy, don't worry, but I don't think there's anything I can do anything to prevent I'm going big. So this is the yarn I'm using, and it's called Katia. It's from Katia or Katia, I don't know how you say that. Merino Aran yarn, and it is 52% merino wool and 48% acrylic. So it's not 100% wool, but I don't really mind. I already bought a few balls of this. I showed you before, and I got 2 extra when I was shopping years ago, that is. So it's 100 grams and 169 yards, 155 meters. So I think I have 5 balls, which should be enough, I think, for this. And the color is called 66, which is really inspiring. So that's about this project, and I am getting it on two socks at the same time, toe up, because I thought when I'm doing socks, and I already asked you guys way back what I could do to prevent the second sock syndrome, I should cast on 2 at a time. So I did, and then I thought, well, if I'm doing that, then I might as well try a new technique right away. So I'm just doing everything at a time, at the same time. So I decided to do them toe up, also because I wanted to use all the yarn with this yarn, and that's the best way, right? So this is what I have so far. I don't even have the entire toes done. So it's really sad socks right now, but that was a bus, because they like to honk in front of my door. So I still have to continue these, but because of the Christmas knitting, it's a little bit left behind, and obviously it's still socks, so it's not something you will see me working on every single day. I'm making them out of this yarn, and I forgot what it's called, because I forget everything. And I didn't write it down, and obviously there's no label again, but it was from some German brand. I don't know anymore. Could be Schoppewolle or something like that. Schoppel? I don't know. Something like that. And what they have is some kind of cone thing. Small, cakey, coney thing. I don't know what it's called. With 2 strands. Wrapped with 2 strands at the same time. So you can wrap 2 balls from that cone, which is handy, but it's not, because it's handy that the yarn is already split, but it's kind of hard to wind the yarn, because you have to wind the 2 balls simultaneously, because if you do one, then you would have 1 ball and a lot of yarn on the floor, because you have to pull from it. If you understand what I'm saying, and if it doesn't make sense, I can't help it. So I will try to remember to look this up before next episode and then tell you what it is. But a small reminder, if you really want to know, would be a good thing, because there are kind of, if you want to bet on the chance that I'm forgetting. That's all I'm saying. I'm knitting them on 2.5 millimeter needles. Not interchangeable, obviously, because they only go down to 3 millimeter. So these are fixed circulars from Knit Pro. And the thing is, that was the nice thing about this yarn. It should, you know, when I forgot the word. Okay, yeah. You can go and get your counter out to count how many times I forget a word in this episode. It's ridiculous. You know, when you have yarn and it's variegated and it's kind of striping, but then not self-striping yarn, but then it's striping a little bit of vertically. Okay, I'm sounding like a retard. Is it pulling? Is that what it's called? I think so. Isn't it? I don't know. I think it is. If not, post below this video what it is. But that's what it's supposed to do, and normally I don't really like that, but the effect with this yarn was really cool. So I thought, let's just buy the yarn and try that. And I already have this yarn in my stash for really long, and this time I mean it, which you can see because it's a little bit dusty. So obviously you can't see that yet because I haven't knit a lot. So you'll have to wait and see what that is going to look like. So those are my 2 at a time toe-up socks. Then I have a Christmas knitting thing, which is my last whip. No, it is not my last whip. It's my second to last. Is that what you say? I don't know. Which is a hat for Sib, my boyfriend. Obviously it's tangled again, so, and this is how far I am. So it's a Fair Isle hat, a very stranded colorwork hat, but you don't see the colors very well, which is a shame because up here it's green and it's not blue. You might be able to see that, but I'm not sure. Maybe like that. So I'm actually making the pattern up myself. I did all these calculations to make sure that it's that it fits him well. So this has to be stretchy, but as you all know, when you're doing color work, the color work is not that stretchy. So I calculated a few numbers to make sure that this part would be big enough to fit his hat, because maybe you know, and I got it to show you, last time I tried to knit him a Fair Isle hat, this is what came out, which is really cute for our baby when it's born, and I don't even know if it's a girl or a boy yet, obviously, but this is not gonna fit Seep ever. So doesn't even fit me. So the only thing I can do is this and look like fool, which I normally do as which I always know. I do not always, but a lot of times I do look like a fool. So it's not new to me, but it will be new to Seep. I think so. So that's not working. Although you can see that if I pull this, you see that it's actually that it's pretty wide, the bottom. But this just does not really, it stretches a little, but not way as long or not as much as this. So I did the math and I think it should work, but as you can see, I have to do a lot because this is more of a headband right now than a hat. I also made up the patterns myself, so I am still thinking what I'm going to do next. If this works out well, I will make this a new pattern in my Ravelry store, although you will have to wait for it for a while because, as I said, January is going to be a really, really busy month, and with all my spare time will go into sleeping, so I probably won't be knitting that much. I'm knitting this out of the same yarn I'm knitting the shawl, the Stephen West shawl out of, the Katia Merino Aran. And why? Well, I went to get those extra balls for the shawl and then saw all these other colors. So I thought, let's get this yarn for a hat. And I like the fact that it's that it has that it's half or a little over half wool, and at the same time you can toss it into the washing machine. And it's Aran weight, which is great for a winter hat, I think. So I bought these 3 colors. This is a really dark green, as you can see, and the color is a little bit different on the screen. But as you know, I can't really help that. In a few months, or actually in 2 months, somewhere like that, I will have a new background. So maybe in the new house will have different, or at least better lighting. And I bought this one, which is sort of an oatmeal color, I guess. It's grayish beige, which I really liked as a base color. I don't like the super whites, just because, I don't know. And then a blue. Pretty simple, actually. So that's nice. And I don't know if you saw my houses yet here with candles in it, but I love houses like that. I don't know why, but I think I'm collecting these candle houses because I think they're really cute. So, and they remind me of preschool when we used to make those out of paper and got to burn a candle on our desks before how do you call that? Before Christmas, before the Christmas holiday was there. Wow, my words. I'm knitting this hat on my cubics, interchangeable cubics by Knit Pro, on 4 millimeters. I don't know if you can see that. And I think they actually knit really nice. So I just thought, why not use them again? Also because all my other 4 millimeter needles were in other projects. So yes, I still have a lot of old projects on needles, not knowing if I will ever finish them, but you guys know that because if you look back in my podcast, I'm not saying you have to do that, please don't, but if you would see a lot of projects, works in progress, that I never showed as a finished object. And that's not because I would love to say that that is because they were finished and I gave them away before I could podcast, but that's because they're just not finished. I'm sorry. But that's live. Then I have a tiny stash enhancement part to show you. So when I went shopping for those, that yarn years ago, I remember that years ago I saw some other yarn and bought that as well. So first thing I bought was this sock yarn. It was just cheap sock yarn. I think it was €2 a ball or something like that. And I like the colors. It's red with blue and white and black, and it has some sort of Fair Isle thing to it, which you can see. You can see that there are these small stripes, so if you knit this strand you will have 1 or 2 white stitches, then a black stitch, and so on, and also in the other colors. So I bought that. It's superwash yarn, and the funny thing is I'm not knitting that many socks, as you guys know, but I still do love sock yarn, so we'll see what I'm going to do with that. And I always buy 2 balls because I think if I want to have 2 socks I have to have 2 balls, but I'm never knitting socks. Weird. And then I bought this, which you will probably all kind of know. It's from Lopi, from Iceland, and it's pretty sturdy yarn. It's a little bit thicker. It's meant to, they say here it's for 5.5 to 6.5 millimeter needles, and it's 100% wool. And I really like this color because it's a light it really looks like a light blue denim color. And what my plan was to make slippers, or maybe even felted slippers out of it. I don't know if this is the right yarn to do that with, but I thought it would be really nice to have slippers in this color and have really nice warm slippers on my feet, because as I already said, I guess, I just get cold really easily. And whatever you do when your feet are cold, you can wear a really big sweater, whatever, but you're never gonna get warm, right? So I thought, if I have these really warm slippers made of 100% wool, I will be warm this winter. Something like that. Although here in Holland, but I guess in the rest of Europe as well, it's not cold at all. Not as cold as it should be, because it should be like around freezing temperatures. And right now it's like 12 degrees outside, which is insane. So that's that. I don't know. I have never made felted slippers or slippers. But I really would like felted ones, because then it's kind of, well, felted ones are pretty sturdy, right? You can't really break them that fast, or break them, like rip them, or you know what I mean. So if anyone has ever made those and thinks this is an appropriate yarn, please point me in the right direction for a good pattern, or give me some tips on how to do this, because I don't know. How do you felt them? You just put them in the washer and hope for the best? And what size do you knit? Because if I would knit them in my size and then felt them, they would be baby size, right? Which could come in handy right now, or later, but still. I want these for me. Yes, I'm a really needy mommy. So help me if you think you can help me, because I would like that. And I'm not playing peekaboo with you guys. I don't know why I'm doing this. So I bought that, and let's see when I make something out of that. And then the only thing that's left is a really small shop update part. If you don't want to see it, it's only 5 minutes, but if you don't want to see it, I want to wish you really nice holidays, really nice Christmas, and a really nice New Year's Eve. I won't be here next week, but I will try to podcast once every 2 weeks. Or at least in 2 weeks, the day or maybe 2 days before we get the key. So at the beginning of January, somewhere around for January, hopefully. For January 4th. So have a really nice holiday, and I will hope to see you next time. And if you do want to see it, you know what to do. Just don't click on anything. The first thing I want to show you is I dyed up some new stuff, the same stuff, but then all over, because it's sold out. This is the Roses and Wine colorway, and I will show it to you a little bit better, because this is it. And I still love this colorway. When I have some time left, I'm going to snatch some skeins and knit myself a nice vest, or something like a cardigan, something like the featherweight cardigan, but then with a little bit extra room for my arms, because let's face it, everything's going bigger for me in the next months. So I'm not going to be someone who thinks she can still wear a small, because then you will be just crying with your new knitted item, and you don't want that. This will be in the shop, I think somewhere next week or this weekend, but at least after Christmas. So I believe somewhere this weekend I will put this in the shop. So by next Monday this should be in the shop, and I'm not putting everything in the shop because I have a pretty big event coming up in the new year. It is in the United States, and it's a fair. And someone, or actually a company, asked me to dye up some stuff for them to sell at that fair in their booth. Some of this is going there as well. So I'm not saying where it is yet. I will do that maybe next time, but then you know. And then I have a new colorway because I felt like experimenting and I love it. And it's this colorway. And I haven't named it yet, but it's a little bit of speckly. It's a little bit speckled. And it has these turquoise, these greens, black, blues in it, and brown. And I think this is super nice. So I might snatch one and make myself a nice hat and maybe some mittens, because this is my Aran or my DK base, and it's 115 grams, so it's quite a bit. And it's super squishy. It's 100% merino, and it's so soft that I do really want to wear this around my ears and my head. And because over here, when I wear a hat that is a little bit scratchy, I'm not going to wear it anymore, because then my whole forehead is going red. Not that it looks good right now, because the funny thing is you don't podcast for weeks and nothing's up, and then the day you decide I'm going to put up a next or a new podcast again, you get these mountains on your face. You wake up, you look in the mirror, and you think, there are some new mountains growing on my face. Well, that always happens, right? It's the same thing when you're going to your school reunion or something like that, and you think, wow, I did my hair and my nails and stuff, and then you have this really big thing on your face and you just can't get it off. It's life, right? And I think there must be some video in all of my videos right now in which I don't have things on my face. I don't know. So that's it, actually. I don't have anything else to say. So I hope you will have really nice holidays, a really nice Christmas, and really nice New Year's Eve, and that you get to spend a lot of time with family and friends and have a lot of good food, because that's pretty important, right? And I hope to see you guys in the new year. So have a great time, guys. Bye!